Hey, how you doing? It's Tom Breeze here from tombreeze.tv, and also
Justin from JustinTeoh.com.
And as you can see, we're in the office today, and Justin's come round because he wanted to ask a few questions about video marketing and also a little bit about how to use video in your business as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
And so what we thought we'd do is actually record this whole conversation, this chat that we're having, yeah, Justin's got some questions, and hopefully I can help you out with your videos as well. And so, do you want to fire away with the first question, Justin?
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, I know that you've come from a presenting background and everything, but I was just wondering how you got into video marketing to start with, yeah.
Well, I suppose in the first step for me really was, I mean, I was trained in NLP, timeline therapy, hypnotherapy, did 3 years at university around psychology, and also did my master's around psychology as well. So I'm quite familiar with the training and coaching aspect of things, and did a lot of different work when I first got into business. And I realised that more and more people were coming to me for presenting and public speaking. So I thought, okay, this is my niche, I can be really good at this area. And started working a lot with other experts to just supplement what I was doing at the time, to say, if you want media training, go to this person. If you want this type of work, then go to this person. But I became very, very successful in what I was doing because there are many different areas of presenting and public speaking that I could really help people out with, starting with confidence, which is obviously, I think a lot of people have the stand up in front of a big audience and they kind of feel some terror, basically. So I was working a lot with clients in this area. And naturally, as you would, you move from one-to-one work and then do more workshops and seminars, and I'm speaking from stage, etc. And it got to a point where I was using video to promote my stuff. I mean, I worked with a mentor myself, and I thought, well, how do I sell more of my programs and my workshops, etc.? And my mentor said to me, well, have you considered video? And it was at the time where people's internet speeds were really slow, and streaming just wasn't really a go area. HD hadn't even been invented, so it was kind of quite a while ago. And so I kind of started looking into video, and I started creating my first video. I did a squeeze page video and said, and it was actually a sales video saying, if you want to come on this course, fill in your details below, and I'll get in touch with you and we'll find out more information. So it's like a squeeze video to like a contact page, basically. Yeah. And my conversions went through the roof. It was unbelievable. Also, I had so many sign-ups saying, yes, I'm interested, hands up in the air. And it was from one video that I realised that my conversion rates tripled overnight. Wow. I was like, this is incredible. This is one video, and it was so much easier for me because I'm naturally a speaker, not a writer or anything like that. So, as you can probably tell from my language just then. But it's the idea that I can be myself on camera. It took a while to get good at that, but I realised the power of video. And then from that, I've sold all of my courses ever since via video. I very, very rarely do any text or anything. I just say, look, here's what's going to be happening, and talk to people through it. Yeah. Because I've been trained in that area to speak and communicate via language and using it via video, basically, or via actually in front of an audience. So I got really good at it, and it was at that point that I hadn't really realised the power of video just yet, only for my own business, but I hadn't linked it for other people's businesses as well. Sure. I was teaching people how to speak in public, but not how to present on camera. Okay. Then I did one particular training where I had, it was about 30 business owners in a room, and I was talking about public speaking. And they said, oh, we really like your videos. How do you do that? I was like, oh, well, if you want to do video, it's actually really simple. You just get a flip camera, and that's what I was using at the time. Didn't have any lighting or anything. Yeah. Did have a green screen, and I was lucky enough to have a good room lighting-wise anyway. But I just realised the power of it was phenomenal, because everyone's saying, well, I'll pay you anything to get great videos like you're doing, because I realised how successful they are. I was like, okay, there's something going on here. I need to look at this. And that was the point where I said, do you know what, I'll start up a new side of the business to say, I'm going to help people become better presenters on camera. So they look the part, they can deliver the material in the right way. But also, I get so much of my traffic from my websites these days purely via video. And the great thing is that with the people that do come to my website, because they've seen a video of me, they get to connect with me, they see what I'm all about, they get to like me and know me and trust me. And so they're so much more highly qualified. And by the time they come to the website, they're like, yep, I'm ready to kind of see what you've got, sign up for what you've got, etc. And so the quality of traffic you get is just phenomenal. And as a result, your conversion rates go through the roof as well. And it's just, I mean, the learning curve for me to create relatively good video to amazing video has been relatively quick, but I've invested quite a bit of time myself in it.
Sure.
Not a huge amount of investment, funny enough. It wasn't a huge investment to say. I mean, lighting you can get for about 200 quid or something, so it's pretty cheap.
Cool.
And we're talking about 2 box lights as well.
Yeah.
Camera, I mean, the camera that we're using this on is, okay, this is a bit more of an expensive camera, but you can get flip cameras, you can do it on your iPhone, you can do it on anything you like really these days. On your iPad now, I've got video, and on laptops, etc. You can use a webcam and things. So there's so much possibility out there. And I find that it's just so easy nowadays just to get something going. Do like a blogging video or something like that, and people just connect with you, like you, trust you. And it's just phenomenal for business. And I think that it's one of those things where right now it's easy to understand how it can make such a huge difference to business. I think in the next few years it's going to become essential. If you're just text on a website, people won't be able to connect with you. People won't know you. People won't get to like and trust you, which I thought is the most important thing about business today is that businesses are now much more moving towards, I want to do business with that person because I like them, I trust them, I get on with them. Not necessarily because their products are fantastic. Obviously, your products need to be fantastic, and that's something that's really important. But the buying strategy and the making someone get out their wallet and say, I'm interested in doing a transaction with you, is much more about whether you know, like, and trust that person. And have maybe seen their stuff in the past and thought, that stuff is amazing, I want more of that great stuff. That's how I see video becoming so powerful, because I know recently, for example, I've had to get different people working with me in terms of selling my property, for example. And when I've done that, there's a website I looked at, and they just had a video at the front of the company. And I got to the person who was speaking to me. I rang up, and that person actually answered the call. They were the second person that took the call, but they had the time for me. And I was like, that's incredible. And I got to like them on the video because it was professionally done. But it wasn't the classic corporate, no, it's kind of a bit faceless, them acting it out. It was them being themselves, just talking through things on their, behind their desk, just talking. And it felt like, wow, you're a genuine person, I like you, I know you, I can see your face, etc. By the time I was on the phone to them, I was like, yeah, whatever it takes, I can see that you're a decent person. And that's why it's so powerful. It's that you choose to do business with people that you like. And when you know that you're looking for a service that someone can deliver on, and you like that person, then it's a no-brainer to invest in it. So I suppose that's a very long answer to your initial question, but hey, that's how I roll. So
No, I like that, and I guess that's why I like a lot of your stuff, because there's this perception that if you are going to be on video, it has to be very professionally done, and because we're used to having all the stuff that you get from what we see on TV, and what I like with your stuff is that you're actually encouraging people just to be more of themselves, because essentially that's how you're going to get that connection and everything.
Oh man, I mean, with video especially, you've always got to be yourself. If you try and be someone else, people see straight through it. It's I like the analogy of like a lie detector test. Like if I was to strap you up and take your sweat glands or whatever it is, but if I was to do that with you and say, right, is your name Justin Teoh? Then chances are you're going to say yes, and the needle would say, yeah, that's like a baseline. I was to say, were you born on this particular day? Then you'd be like, yes, and it would baseline would be recorded almost. Then if I was to say to you, were you on the night of this, and were you here? And you said no, I wasn't there, and I get this big needle going all over the place. Hey, so there's something going on here. It's exactly the same with online video. If someone sees you and you're being somebody else, people see through it straight away. And it's like selling as well. If you can be yourself in some videos, but then it comes to the point where you say sign up here or make your purchase below or whatever it might be. If you do that and there's a bit of nervousness there, and they get to know you, and they'll see it straight away. So it's a case of making sure you feel really comfortable and always be yourself, and just say, hey, look, if you're interested in buying this product, you've seen my stuff before, you like my stuff, hopefully. And if you do, this is going to be going to a lot more information about it. And yes, the price point might be quite high on it, but it's definitely worth it. The value is going to be there. And of course, most people nowadays guarantee their work as well and say, look, if you're not happy with it, just let me know and we'll refund you. But it's making sure you always be yourself, because that's what connects you. That's what, in any industry, and if any niche is profitable, then other people want to be doing it. And the way to set yourself apart is not by price, it's just by personality. It's making sure that you say, hey, look, this is who I am on camera. This is who I am when I'm in real life as well. If you say, for example, coming to here now, I mean, I don't think I'm any different doing this video than I would be doing any other video. And it's a case of building that relationship with someone. They think, do you know, that person's a really decent person, that person's a really good person. And because, again, with any profitable niche, there's going to be thousands of people doing what people do. There's going to be a lot of people doing what I do.
Yeah.
But people will connect with me, and people will think, I really like your stuff, and therefore I'm going to purchase more from you. And if you can do that and always show your integrity and your authentic self, I think that the almost like the price point doesn't matter any longer. It's like, I know you're going to teach me great stuff. And it's almost like the more I invest in it, the more value I put to it, the more I'll do it, the more I'll get out of it. And I think that's almost more powerful. And it's videos like the anti-sell. You don't need to sell. In fact, you just say, if this is for you, then brilliant. If not, hey, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
And it's a much nicer relationship, and it's actually about developing those relationships. And there's something that Scott Stratton always says is, if business is about building relationships, let's make it our business to build those relationships. And I think that's so true. I think that with word of mouth, having had a period of time where it was disappearing, I think it's back now. So if you look at like the 1960s, for example, and not that I was alive at that time.
I wasn't implying that.
We're both like, but at that period of time, we talk with such experience here. But you can imagine that if there's a butcher or there's you wanted to go and pick up something from town, for example, the chances are your neighbour will be able to say, oh, this person's really good, go to them because they'll do you a deal. In fact, if you mention my name, I'm sure they'd cut you a nice slice of lamb or whatever. And it's that sort of thing. You get that word of mouth and you get the recognition. It's great for the business that way as well, because they can be decent people and get recognised for it, which is obviously very important. With the birth of the internet, it became everyone can hide behind words, and you can get other people to write those words for you. So you don't even have to be a good business. You can just say, "Hey, someone else write this, make it look really good," and they'll sell products. And so there's it's become this faceless thing, or at least if it looked that someone was being there, like a photo, for example, still there wasn't much of a connection. Now with video and with YouTube and things, people get to know each other very, very quickly, and that is what's so powerful. Is that word of mouth coming back with social media. People are saying this person's great or this person's not so good. And it's a complete game changer. It's completely changed the rules, because no longer is it about how well you can sell, how well you can... Obviously, they are important, and the return on investment's important. I think the real key here is kind of the relationship you build with all your viewers. I mean, there's things like people say to me, well, if you have a red sign-up button, it's going to convert better than the blue sign-up button. yeah, will do. But if someone wants your stuff, someone wants your stuff. Do you know what I mean? If you might get that 0.1%, but it's not looking at it like a return on investment to say, of course, it's important to know your figures, but I think it's more important for someone to think, do you know what, that person's just a really decent person. I get on with them. I like them. I trust them. I know them. I would like to do business with them. And then when you've got that offer that's going to be right for them, they're going to say, hey, I'm ready to buy into this. I'm ready to have more of what you have to offer. So, I think that you're completely right. I think that with the birth of online video and social media, is that people become a lot more exposed. And as a result, if you can become that person that's there and is becoming decent, and people rave about you because they know that your products are fantastic, it doesn't become a hard sell any longer. It just becomes like, hey, if you want to join the community, if you want to join this club that I'm building, I'm going to guide you through, I'm going to mentor you through this whole process. And it becomes infectious. It becomes like, wow, everyone starts raving about you, and that's what I think is where business is really going. Awesome. I hope that answers your question around that area.
No, definitely. And I guess, you sort of just mentioned it there, where, video is so powerful because it exposes you, who you are and all that sort of stuff. But, that's a really good thing in a way, because you can connect with whoever's viewing your videos. But in a way, it's also a very big barrier to a lot of people going online, filming videos of themselves, because, again, it's the whole idea of, you're gonna, you...
Gonna knock up or something.
Yeah.
You're gonna look silly, it's stupid,
just things like, there was that video of that girl who made that song, Fridays. It's got like 100 million views now, but there's, some atrocious comments that are on there. People really, getting stuck into it. That
exactly what you mean, yeah.
With people, I was sort of, what are these sort of ways that you can get over these sort of barriers? And are these barriers? Do you find that these barriers, because obviously you've been on the line for quite a while, and your videos are very, very good in that. But
thank you. Checks in the post. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
but yeah, with just a lot of people. I know when I started out, and not too long ago, when someone challenged me to get onto YouTube, and at that time I just still remember just feeling, but why would people want to watch my videos? And are there other? Do you find there are these sort of problems that people face, all these barriers, and what are the biggest problems and barriers you find people face, and are there ways to overcome them? I know that's a very long-winded question.
No. I think it's a very good question. I think that one of the biggest barriers that people have is this getting started. It's this kind of like, how will I look? How will I sound? How will I come across? Will people think I'm crap? Or like, sorry, people don't like that sort of language. I'll do my best to keep it reined in. But it's almost like people do get worried about how they look, how they sound, how they come across. And I think that that's obviously a normal worry that everyone has. But it's the sort of thing where if you look at the power of video, it cannot be ignored. You've got to get into it, basically.
Sure.
There is a bit of it kind of like saying, there's part of me that says, hey, look, just get over it and get going with it. Which is, of course, I think, not what people see on here. But it's a case of just getting on with it and doing it. I think there's a lot of people that get afraid of it and they haven't even given it a go. I think one of the best things to do is just film yourself and do it like, for example, a white wall, if you can, like in the background that we've got here. Just because it keeps it plain. No one can read anything into it apart from you, basically. One of the best things that I often do with people is do an interview like this, or not necessarily an interview, but a chat with people, and just get it on, because it's a good video, it's an engaging video for the viewer as well. And it means that there's no pressure there. It's like it feels much more comfortable to do it like that, and you can make mistakes and feel calm with it. Because hey, it's just it's almost like they're eavesdropping in the conversation that we're having. And that's what makes it a lot easier for people. So whenever I get people down at the studio, the first thing we do is do an interview. One, because it makes them feel more comfortable, but two, because you can split up the interview into each answer that you give. And it puts you in a position of credibility anyway, because you're being asked a question, so you must be good at what you do, or that's the presupposition that people have. But also you can split up that video into, let's say, 10 videos of all the answers you've given, all the little sound bites, all the little nuggets, etc. And when you do that, it's great for traffic, because then you release one every day on YouTube. And YouTube love you for it, because you're releasing regular content. Plus you can outsource that, or not outsource it, sorry, export it to many different video channels. So it doesn't have to be just YouTube. It could be video, Vimeo, Vidler, Big or Dailymotion, all the different video sites, basically. And TubeMogul does it, HeySpread does it. There's many, Pixel Pipe is another one that does it. So you can just press go and it goes to all these different video sites. Have your website at the bottom of it, and people are going to be clicking on it and going back to your website. So it's extremely powerful, and you can imagine one interview turns into maybe 10 answers, which can be uploaded to, like, say, 20 to 50 sites. So you can look at like 500 videos from one interview, which is pretty good. Plus, video ranks much more highly than content anyway. So if you've got a good YouTube channel, you'll find that, and we can talk about optimizing that if you wish, but if you have a good YouTube channel, then you'll stay there for a long time as well. So you get to the top of Google, but stay there for a particularly difficult keyword. So you can get a lot of traffic from those videos back to your website. And if you've got, if one's performing well, if you've got 500 of them out there, then you're going to be laughing. It's going to be like, this is easy. And optimize it for different keywords. Try and get a how-to in there. YouTube love those like more informational videos. And make sure you've got your URL at the bottom with the HTTP : / then your URL. If you have that in there, it becomes clickable. Then they come straight back to your website. Or what's better is actually send them back to a particular page. They think, wow, this is exactly what I was looking for. Here's more of the content I was looking for. And it means that you just have this really good interaction. Get comments, get interaction, get likes, get shares, get embeds. And again, you're laughing. It makes it really exciting. And it's just so easy. It's so leverageable that traffic just becomes very, very easy to get. And plus, as I said earlier, it's really high quality traffic. It's people that are coming there saying, I want to find out more. So I think that if people are looking to get started, maybe start with an interview and split that up. Get used to doing it yourself. Just get used to filming yourself. And it doesn't matter if it's awful to begin with. You can always take it down later if you wish to. But hey, keep it up. You can probably see some of my videos that are dreadful when I started out. And also what you can do is you can do things like Camtasia videos as well. They're good. they're not going to be as good with things like thumbnails for YouTube and things. But again, it's about just getting out there and just getting the videos going. And you get better and better. And of course, I do a course and teach people how to do it inside. So how to build your story, how to communicate more effectively, and how to look good on camera, and how to use your body language, etc., which is obviously very important. But hey, it's about the person being themselves and being natural with it. And it's like us sitting here. I mean, if we wanted to have it just a table, you and I being very kind of formal, then it wouldn't work as well as if we're just sitting back making mistakes, using notes, having a cup of tea, etc., having the dictaphone on the table. We could have made it look really good, but hey, we're just sitting here having a chat, which is much more believable, much more trustworthy, and much more rapport building in a way than if you just have like a stark you and the viewer almost, or you and the camera. And it can come across a bit stale sometimes. So the more you can make mistakes, go off on one as I'm going now, the more you can make it enjoyable like that, the better, I think. It just becomes a much more engaging, enjoyable experience for the viewer. So
Definitely. And I guess, just going back to new people starting out again, obviously, one big barrier is I guess getting in front of the camera and exposing, who you really are to the world and that. But, I guess, other sort of barriers that people might sort of have, even though they realise it's such a powerful medium, is maybe, what sort of content would people want to hear from me? Why would people want to listen to me? And, what makes a good video?
Some of the best videos that I create that get loads of comments, builds a lot of rapport, are the thought-provoking videos. So share a bit of content. The best thing to do is just share your best content. The stuff that whenever you share it with a client, or when if you're doing consulting, or if you've got any information you think is absolutely fantastic, or just go on one of the big players in your industry, like one of the big websites that keeps up to date with all the latest news. Even see what's trending on Twitter, for example, and just go there and just see what's happening. And if something comes up and you think that's really interesting, make a video about it. And it could just be you walking down the road holding your flip camera. And as you're doing that, and hey, by the way, little tip on that, when you hold the flip camera, make sure you do it a little bit higher than your face. Reason being is because if you look down, your voice changes and you look a bit funny. If you do it up, it sounds easier. It just looks better.
I like it.
So a little tip on that. But yeah, so if you've got some valuable content, and they can just be 1 minute snippets, all the better, and provoke a conversation with your audience as well. So you might say, hey, I was thinking about this recently, I was wondering what you guys think on this. And do that, people will leave comments straight away, and they say, yeah, I really like your viewpoint on that. And if you get discussion going, all the better. Facebook comments aren't great for discussions because people don't get notified when someone else leaves a comment. But you can do, with WordPress, for example, that's where I host most of my stuff. You can have comments there where people opt in to hear what other people say as well. And it's really enjoyable because then people might say something else. You think, oh yeah, that's a really good point actually. You start coming back and it builds this whole community thing, which is one of our 6 deepest needs, which is obviously very important to feel part of a club. They're all learning and growing together. It's a really nice experience for people to have. And so if people are worried about content, get your best stuff, film you just naturally chatting about it. Walk in the park, walk where you go naturally, and just say, hey, I'm walking down here. Don't feel it has to be perfect, and just get through it and just do it. And people will love you for it. People love the short snippets of your thoughts, basically. I think you'll find that it's the sort of thing where people sometimes feel like, well, why would people want to listen to me? They borrow other people's comments as well. I mean, I was watching QI recently. And with Stephen Fry and Alan Davis and all this sort of stuff. And I love it because it's full of information, but it's funny as well. But they're on there and they were talking about near-death experiences. So they're saying when someone just about to pass away, their life flashes before their eyes. And they're saying, why does that happen? Because it's not just from films that people believe in that. It's been through the ages. People have had this thing going on. They're saying when someone's just about to pass away, their life flashes before their eyes. And they say, well, what it is your mind looking for a point in time where it's experienced a similar situation, so it knows what to do in this situation. So say, for example, you're drowning. It's like, it says, right, I'm going to download everything I've got, all the memories, very quickly, to say, when this has happened in the past, what do we do differently? Or what can we do to make sure we don't die, basically? But obviously it hasn't got an experience, so it just keeps on downloading, and hence you see the whole of your life, or think about the whole of your life flash before your eyes. Well, that's a theory, isn't it?
Okay, yeah, no.
Which I like. Which I like, yeah. But so you can get that information and use it for so many different things. So I was saying to people, well, if you're fearful of getting in front of a camera, it's because your mind is probably looking for, your mind naturally does this, it looks for experiences you've had before. And if you've spoken in public or read aloud in class or been exposed at a seminar or something like that, or had to stand up and give your question or something, we get a rush of anxiety, don't we?
Yeah.
We get this feeling of, I don't want to look like a fool, I don't want to look silly. It's exactly the same sort of belief system that might be going on when you think getting in front of a camera, because you're thinking, I'm going to send this out to thousands of people. It better look good. And but hey, it's more about kind of getting it done. And people love the mistakes. People love kind of, one of the things I often do is do like a blooper reel and say, like, how many times have I mucked up and things. And people connect with you. They think, oh, you're not this perfect person, and therefore I like you more. If you're perfect all the time, it becomes too corporate-like, and you lose the connection, I think. And I think it's nice to have someone, just a natural human being that people can get on with, and that's obviously much more enjoyable to watch that as well. Much more natural, I suppose, as well.
Yeah. And you've sort of you've gone from this journey where you've started out and you've just kept at it and gotten better and better and better. And now you're at a stage where you can probably film videos quite easily and everything. And, I guess, what are sort of maybe 3 or 4 really cool tips that you might have that you've just sort of noticed along the way that have really helped you out? Sort of, one day you've got up and you've done this differently, and from then on, it's just changed how you've done it because it really, really worked.
Cool. Okay, perfect. One thing I do, which is really helpful, is adding audio. Audio is the most important part of video. It sounds all weird, doesn't it? But audio is the most important part. So if you're going to spend any money, get audio right, then get your lighting right, and then get your camera right. People often think, I've got to buy a very nice camera, and then I'll buy some audio, and then I'll buy lights. Audio number one, because people are much more likely to watch a video that has got good audio. If it's got bad audio, people will turn off. But people will put up with bad video, but not bad audio. So it's important to get the audio right. Sure. I'm hoping that this audio comes out well for this video. I'm really worried about it, but it's fine. So you've got that aspect of it. That's tip number one, get your audio good. Then tip number 2 is just to get going. It's so important that people just get the first video done. And if you want to, go to tombreeze.tv and send it to me. Send your video to me and I'll review it and I'll give you feedback. Something I do with a lot of the clients or customers or anybody that comes to me. It's just get that relationship going and help people out as much as possible. So just get going. Third tip, I think one thing that I think is just not to get it right, not to think it has to be perfect, because you can actually do an editing job as well. Because say for example with the audio that we've got here, what I do is I do a sync clap. So I'll do this, and that'll have a big have a kind of a, when you look at it visually, the audio track, it's going to have a big spike on it from that sound. And when that happens, what you can do is you can sync it up with the video sound as well, and so it all looks good. So hopefully that makes sense. Does that make sense to you? Yeah. Because just before we did this, he sort of did the clap.
Clap's
very loud, so you can just sync up your audio and make sure with the video audio as well, and align it, which looks good. But what you can also do especially with things like iMovie, which is really easy to do, you can actually cut bits of your video out. So if you make a mistake, say for example I was doing a video and I said, hey, how are you doing? It's Tom Breeze here from tombreeze.tv, and today we're going to be talking about I made a mistake. I wouldn't have to do all of that again if I'd been speaking for 10 minutes or something. I'd just do that last little bit. So I'd say, where did I stop at previously, and where can I start off from? And then I can just cut that bit out that I made a mistake and then sync it back up again. Does that make sense? So you kind of might need to overlap yourself a little bit, but it means that when you're in the editing job, you can just cut that bit out without thinking you have to stop the camera, start all again. Just get the material done, and then you can sync it all together and it looks really good and it sounds really good. And
would it be sort of disjointed where you've gone on and said, you've got up to one of your lines, you've forgotten what comes next. Then you go back and you when you remember it, you go back and you go through it again.
So I think it's a good learning curve.
Sorry.
Okay, so as you probably saw, the video on my camera only records half an hour's worth. It's really high HD, and as a result, we actually got cut off as we were talking about how to cut video together, which is bizarre. So I think the question was, if you don't mind me rephrasing it, if I can, is if you've made a mistake and you overlap yourself and you come back to it again, how can you make it look seamless? Is that right?
That's right.
what you can do in iMovie, this is what a program that I use, you can do this on Movie Maker if you're on a PC, is when you've got kind of film A and film B and you're trying to sync them together, what you can do is you cut out those two bits, work out the bit where you've got the end of what you said well and the start of what you said well from here. So you've got the two good bits. And basically you just stick them together and then you might want to shave a little bit off either side it to just make it look good and look a little bit better.
Yeah.
Then what you want to do is just zoom in. So you do a crop of your video.
Okay.
So you can, on iMovie, you go to the bottom left of the film strip.
Sure.
And there's an option, you just click on the little settings button, you go down and it says cropping and rotation or something like that.
Yeah.
Click on that and you can actually crop in and zoom in.
Okay.
And the fact that you've zoomed in will mean that it doesn't look weird any longer.
Okay.
So the audio sounds good because it carries on.
Yeah.
The video looks good because you just zoomed in, which I do a lot of zooming in and zooming out just because it keep the motion going. It looks good.
Yeah.
And then what you want to do is you can just carry on and you zoom back out later on when you're in a part that you're just talking naturally.
Oh, cool.
So you can get loads of the video done, make a load of mistakes, cut them out, and make the video look really, really good.
Oh, cool.
So, does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what, sometimes I try and explain this to the camera, because there's no interaction with someone. I think, am I just going off and people don't understand what I'm talking about? But hopefully that makes more sense.
Yeah, that definitely does.
Because it means you can start creating video. One of the biggest problems you said earlier is the procrastination. People don't get it right because they feel they're going to get it wrong, so therefore they don't do it. And that's one of the biggest problems. It's just like we've had errors, and you get errors all the time. We get errors on the camera, etc. When it stops, and then we carry on, and it's just a case of just syncing it together. Yeah, become a little bit of an editing wizard almost, but nothing too much. Nothing like it's actually 5 minutes to learn that material. Yeah. So it's almost you just look at it and think, that looks a lot better. That sounds a lot better. And as a result, you have a much better time with video. So,
cool.
And then you can get your content out much more rapidly, and you can just make it look a lot better. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Yeah. In fact, if you go to tombreeze.tv, I'm going to show you how, because we're going to do some videos together in a second. I'm going to show you how we edit some of Justin's videos. Cool. So you'll be able to get the learning curve there as well, and that'll be on one of the blog posts. Just have a look around and you'll find it. And probably be Justin Teoh's day with Tom Breeze or something like that. We haven't made it yet, so probably going to change. But hey, something like that.
Yeah. No, that's really cool because how I usually do videos is all in one take because I've not figured out this little trick yet. And when you do finally get the video where it's all got what you want to say in it, you're knackered by the end of it, and there's no energy or whatever, and you're just like, hey, I'm Justin. Sign up for me.
Sign up for my stuff. Oh, do you know what? I learnt that way. Yeah. So I learnt the way to get it all done in one take. And it might have been, I think the longest video I did all in one take was 45 minutes long.
Cool.
And that took me quite a while to get right.
Yeah.
That was the first time I learned it's fine to not be perfect. But when I first started out, I thought there's a learning curve that I had where I thought I've got to get everything absolutely perfect because the editing didn't used to be as good as it is now.
Okay.
So it used to be the fact that I had to get it absolutely perfect because then it's like file done, and you weren't going to go and edit it because it's HD and the computer couldn't deal with that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
That's really good for your progression though because it means that nowadays I'm much better at creating video more seamlessly. So it's not a huge editing job ever, really. I normally just leave the mistakes in there. And people say, hey, you made a mistake, but you kept it in there. I was like, it's me being me, so there's not a huge pressure on it. Awesome. When I'm working with corporate clients and they want it absolutely perfect, then of course it might take a bit longer. That's the point where I do it all in one take. But hey, it's not about getting it perfectly done. It's just about kind of like sometimes editing the mistakes out and just get it out there. People will be fine with you making mistakes, and that's where it really lies. That's where the importance really lies, I think. Just getting it done, getting it out there, and then moving on to the next thing, as opposed to procrastinating and not getting your stuff done, which I think a lot of people do.
True. So, And if we have time for maybe one more or so,
Some more tips?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, you just...
Oh, there are more questions, so we go for it.
Yeah, like, because you were talking about how you can do the really long takes and everything, and how do you sort of remember everything you have to say? Because I know that, watching a lot of your videos, they are, 7 minutes, and 7 minutes might not sound long, but when you have to, speak about certain content for 7 minutes, it's actually, it is a fairly long time.
Yeah.
Are there any secrets that you use?
there's something that I use that's a really effective way of communicating with a viewer.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to always remember it's you and the viewer. It's not you and an audience. Although it's going out to an audience, it's you sitting with somebody, and it's almost like, well, you can see here, it's almost like you'd be looking at this computer and watching me on a video.
Yeah.
So you'll probably be in a position where you might have even finished work and be sitting there kind of like knackered at work like this, like, oh. And so you need to get them out of that state, but you need to bear in mind that it's just you and one other viewer all the time. It's not anybody else. So just talk to them like it's one other person, and that's really important to do.
Yeah.
Good to have that sort of mindset as we go. Now, what you do is there's a system that I use called the format system.
Okay, yeah.
The most effective way of communicating with a client or with anybody is to use this system, because we work with the psychology of somebody else who's receiving information. So you go from the beginning, you go, why? So you think about what your topic is and say, well, why is that topic so important? Why would that be so motivating to listen to? What are the pains and problems that this topic might solve? And you're saying, you might even just talk to the camera and say, do you know what? You know how it's so frustrating when you have this particular problem. So, for example, let's go for something like, I'm doing this off the cuff, so bear with me. But imagine if we did how to edit your video. Yeah. And like we've just spoken about. I might say something like, do you know what? How frustrating is it when you think you've got to get it all in one take? The audio didn't sound good, or there may be birds in the background, and it's really difficult to get the audio right. You think you've got to get it all in one take, and it's difficult. It's frustrating, and it makes you procrastinate, which means you're not going to get the traffic you want back to your website, etc. And it halts your whole business because of one silly little mistake or one silly little thing that you've said on camera you didn't mean to say. Now, that would be my why section, because as I was saying it, you're like, that sounds like that's not a problem. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But if you talk like that from the beginning and say, look, this is the problem I think that a lot of people have and I want to solve in this video, people will be like, okay, I'm in, because you're talking about the whys. Cool. You can go into more detail about the 6 deepest needs, which again pull people in, engage people. So that might be areas around things like certainty. So you want to have certainty that it's going to work. You want to have uncertainty in terms of like bringing up a few problems. So like, that sounds like me. Or what do I do about it? That incorporates growth as well. People want to grow from your videos, grow in terms of their knowledge base, and also as a person almost, especially in the self-development world. We also have significance, so you might even pull on things like, and you're going to become the expert of doing this at the end. So like, brilliant, I'm going to become an expert. I'm standing out from the crowd, so there's a bit of significance. You also have the opposite of that, significance, which is community, a sense of belonging. You're part of a club, etc. Build that sort of idea. And also you want to get in there a bit about contribution, so giving back, a bit of like, here's something I've found out recently I want to share with you guys. That idea. And it's really engaging for the viewer then, because you cover all these 6 deepest needs that people have. I know we're going into quite a bit of detail here. The idea from the beginning is just do the why. Tell them why it's so important, this video. And that can be done in like 30 seconds maybe or something like that, just to really engage them. Because you imagine if you're, again, sitting there just with your computer, and all of a sudden you say, in this video we're going to solve this particular problem. You're like, oh my God, this sounds like me. I'm ready to listen. What is it you're talking about? So the why goes first all the time. Then you go into the what, and that's just like the topic and the details and the information, the facts. Go into all that area, and just do what the topic is. Just tell them the theory almost, and say, here's what you need to do. Then you go into a how section after that, and the how section is giving them an example. I go through it with them, just say, this is what you need to do step by step to ensure you get this right, etc. And say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So for right now, I'm in the how section of what I'm talking about. I told you why, how to do the why, what, how to do the what, how. I'm in the how section now, so give people the run through of how to do it. And then the final part is the what if, and that's the kind of like, once you've learned all this information, or what's that going to mean for the viewer? What's that going to mean? So what are they going to gain from this? What's the future implications? How can they take this forward? What sort of problems might they be facing? And so if I move into my what if now, it's almost like, so as a result of learning this, you'll be able to create a lot more professional looking videos, be able to present in the way that you want to. You'll be able to get videos out there very quickly as well, because you won't have to procrastinate for ages about how am I going to script this, how am I going to get this right. Plus you can ditch the scripts, because you can just hold those 4 points in your head of the why, what, how, what if. And you can go off the cuff, like in any interview, etc. And you can keep yourself structured, and you can keep on track. So all the benefits are there. Exactly. You like this stuff, and the one thing to consider is at the end of this is that, yes, it's not easy. You're not going to get this straight away. But the idea is to use that structure, get used to that structure, and you'll become better and better at it. And then you won't even have to think about it at all any longer, because you know what's coming next. And you're like, right, that fits into that category. I'm going to talk about that then. Some topics don't lend themselves perfectly to that system of why, what, how, what if. But typically they do.
Mm.
And I know people ask me about sales videos as well. Exactly the same, just take out the how section.
Ah, okay.
So you just take out the demonstrations, etc. You say, here's why this is so important.
Uh-huh.
Here's kind of what we're going to teach you inside the program.
Yep.
Don't do the how. Don't tell them how you do all the information, because that's what you're selling.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it, you say, and if you do all of this, this is what it's going to mean for you. You're going to become much better. You're going to stand out in the crowd. You're going to be part of a community that are growing very, very rapidly.
Yeah.
Yes, there's going to be some stuff that you can really learn very quickly, and there's also going to be some stuff that you need to take over time. But as a result, you'll be able to go back, share this amazing information with your viewers, and they're going to become raving fans.
Gosh.
Now, as I was doing that, what I was actually doing is doing my what if section plus my 6 deepest needs.
Yeah.
So I went through those 6 deepest needs. I said, you're going to be an expert. You're going to become part of a group. You're going to be able to actually go back and share that information with people. So that's the significance, community, and the contribution. And then the other deepest needs was certainty. So I was like, there's going to be some stuff in there you're going to find very easy to do. Certainty.
Oh.
Uncertainty. Uncertainty is like, there's going to be a lot of stuff that you probably need to learn over time. So it's like, oh my God, there's going to be some stuff that I'm not going to know yet.
Yeah.
Which means you're going to grow as a person and grow your business very rapidly and become a much bigger business as a result. And so I'm a bit of I don't like to call myself a presenting pro, but I've become very good at this.
You are good.
So I do my format system, but there's plugins almost. If you imagine you've got a WordPress website, you add in plugins. And that's what I look at viewing my presenting style. It's like, use the format system to begin with, then start plugging in the 6 deepest needs, and you start finding you communicate so effectively with people.
Wow.
They think, wow, this is great, this is amazing.
Yeah.
But obviously inside the program that I run with people, we break it down step by step just to make it really nice and easy. Because doing it here like this, it's, like, it's easy for me to talk about it. But yeah, it's like, wow, it sounds like so good. But it's more a case of like breaking it down and saying, right, here's how you do it. And then you've got things like storytelling and bringing your story across, like teaching people. Like at the start of this interview, you asked me about how I got into it.
Yeah.
And I reeled off my story.
Yeah.
And it's engaging for people. You say things to people and they think, oh, that's so interesting. And that makes me build a relationship with you.
Yeah.
So there's loads of stuff about how you should be doing that as well. And we cover everything you need to, so it just makes it really, really simple for people to start mastering online video and the art and the science, I suppose, of getting loads of traffic back to your website and becoming much better at it as well.
Gosh, that's freaking cool. Like I'm
cool.
I'm glad that this is recorded because I got a lot of it, but like I'm just trying to store it all. Yeah.
Get it all. Well, I'm starting to do a lot more. Do the video and the audio. Because if people can take the audio away, that's what engraves people really, really cleverly. Like if people are listening to the audio now, maybe commuting into work, for example, on their iPhone, that's what I do a lot of. Then what you'll find is that you are there for them all the time, and you become part and parcel of their life almost.
Yeah.
So they listen to you and they kind of get more and more knowledge from you. And it's not just the video they can access every now and again; it's the audio they can listen to as well, and they can put it on a CD, listen to it in the car, etc. All that sort of stuff. And it means you can actually become part of someone's daily routine, which is really powerful. Then it becomes super amazing, basically. I think that's a technical term, super amazing. But it's that sort of thing. It's kind of getting into someone's life and actually really helping them, really becoming this person for them, like a mentor, like a coach, like a trainer. And so they think, wow, I'm learning so much all the time. So you may be watching this video and thinking this is amazing. Or look below this video and you get the MP3 version, and you can keep on listening to it, keep on taking that information in, and you can just listen back and just hear the stuff that we've spoken about, and it just allows you to grow really rapidly with your business. So
cool.
So hopefully that's been very, very useful for you guys.
Yeah, definitely. Loads of content and everything.
Well, it's been cool.
I wish I was actually writing some of it down, but
exactly. Well, you can come back and do it again. But I love doing this sort of stuff, and it's so enjoyable, kind of sharing information like this, because we're just tipping the iceberg. I know we've been speaking for 45 minutes now, so it's been going quite a while. But it is just the tip of the iceberg. It's like you've probably taken a lot from this video, but there's so much more out there that you can really help people with, and that's what we do in the program. It's like we are still in week 1 as I speak. Probably by the time you're watching this, we might finish the course. But it's like an interactive course, so people keep on leaving comments and things, and that's how it's going to run from time and carry on. I keep on adding video and helping people out all the way through. But it's that idea that you're always learning, you're always taking something away, you're always kind of grabbing something new. But we're in week 1 and I've created some ridiculous amount of video already. I think about an hour and a half worth of video.
Cool.
Like 45 minutes now. It's so easy to get a load of content done.
Sure, yeah.
When you know your stuff and you get to learn how to present effectively, it just becomes really enjoyable, and it becomes something that you think, wow, I've just created another hour's worth of video there, and people can take it away. A bit of editing to do, but nothing too strenuous.
Yeah.
And it just becomes really enjoyable. So yeah,
Cool.
I love it.
Well, I guess, yeah, I mean, we've been going for a while in that, and there's, heaps to talk about and everything, but, maybe just to finish, is there one, big secret that you think the viewers, that would really, really help everybody who's watching right now? Especially those news people just, with, getting started, and, what would be the biggest secret, I guess, to being a good presenter?
The biggest secret would be buying my stuff. I'm joking. Well, if you want to go for it, but no, the biggest secret is get going with it, and look at it like a development of yourself. Look at it like the first time you do it, you'll probably look at it and think, "Oh, that's better than I thought it was going to be." Yeah. The next time you do it, you'll probably think that was rubbish, but it will be better. The reason being is because you've learned some stuff, and you thought, I wanted to implement that, but now I don't look as good as I once did. Yeah. But you will actually be better. Then you'll go through a next stage of like starting to learn it, actually thinking, I have to think about what I'm doing, but I'm getting good at it. And then you get to the last stage of thinking, I don't even have to think about what I'm doing, and I'm being really good at it. It's like 4 stages of learning. What I suggest people to do is really kind of, if you want to do this and get a load of traffic and run your business, like building relationships, and video is the best way of doing that. And I think the only way of doing it and getting into it is to get going, demanding more from yourself to say, how do I get this really looking really good? And then once you've done it 1 or 2 videos that look really good, you get the bug and you think, this is incredible. I know you said earlier, like, you're loving the video and things. And it's just so important. It's so important to get more and more content out there. And this is the way the internet's going anyway, so people can't avoid it any longer. It's got to be that done. And I think the best thing to do is just get out there, get it done, get the videos going, and doing the best you can all the time. And it's something I've learned from my mum when she first taught me. Well, unfortunately she passed away, but when I was much younger. But that was one of the things she taught me, is to always do my bestest. Yeah. And so whenever I create a video or whenever I do anything, I always think, how can I do this as best as possible? How can I create this? So we're in the office right now. We thought we could sit here on a sofa. We could sit here and just we thought, get the table out and talk to you like a human being almost. And that's the way that I think this will come across in the best possible way. Yeah. And hopefully it has, and hopefully people are still watching. But it's just making sure that you can have the best possible take you can get without stressing too much, without procrastinating, so it's like happy medium. Get it right, but don't make it so impossible to get it right that you'll never create the video. Just get going and do it as best you can, basically, because you will get better and better and better. And if you carry on doing your best, then you'll realise that it's like perfect practice makes perfect, not just any old practice makes perfect, which is really important. You'll find you get like little sound bites and things that you can use, and that's going to really help people out as well. So that, and obviously buy tombreeze.tv. Every product's on there, just get them all. Take out huge amounts of credit cards and just get it all on there. Go for it.
Perfect, Tom. I mean, really, really happy with that. I was, answered more than what I've got down here, and definitely learnt a lot. Got a lot to think about. Brilliant stuff, man. Brilliant stuff.
Well, if they want to find out more about video marketing, go to tombreeze.tv. If they want to find out more about Justin, where do they need to go?
JustinTeoh.com.
Fantastic, and we'll speak to you very soon. Thanks very much.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Tom.
No worries.
Brilliant.